So no one really talked about the Netflix series Daybreak, and it will not be renewed for a season 2. And I believe that is entirely on Netflix with how they chose to market the show. That's it. That's my intro. I'm Amanda and you're watching Swell Entertainment. Netflix only advertised Daybreak to me one time. The preview that they gave me for the show had a line in it that turned me off to the show immediately, and then I never had it advertised to me again. And because it's an apocalyptic show, and because our world is currently on fire, I started thinking about the show again. If you don't follow me on any other piece of social media, my official statement on everything that's going on right now is Black Lives Matter, and everyone deserves to be able to live without fear. I will be putting links to petitions and places to donate down below. Anything you can give is incredibly helpful. I debated making a whole video about the movement, but there's no way that I can see where I can make a video about it without feeling like I'm taking away from more important voices in the movement. So like I said, I will be linking petitions and places to donate down below. There's been a lot of people talking about like, oh god, what's 2020 gonna throw at us next? Is Godzilla coming? Is zombies coming? And so I started thinking about Daybreak because Daybreak is a zombie apocalypse story that doesn't know what the fuck to do with their zombies really. But I started thinking about the show and I was like, god, you know, whatever happened with that show? YouTube searched Daybreak and there was very few people who had actually talked about it. So I was like, did no one watch it? You know, when you log into Netflix on your homepage, they often have like a little preview trailer that they've done for a new series or a documentary or something that they now have on there. They usually don't make this preview available on other platforms, so I haven't been able to find it. And also, he never says the line that turned me off in the show, so I don't know the line verbatim, but I think you'll get my vibe. The show looked interesting. It's about high schoolers who are now in a post-apocalyptic situation. All the adults are dead, or they're ghoulies, which are their zombies, and they're all trying to survive, and it's all like sepia-toned and like just, you know, a post-apocalyptic show where it's like Mad Max style. Instead of cliques, they all have tribes, but they're all still like the jocks, the cheerleaders, the Kardashians, which are like just like the people who are like wanting to be famous, you know, and then you have like the outcasts, the gamers, the nerds that are all dressed like Steve Jobs. So I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, this looks entertaining. I may actually watch this. And then Josh, our main character, says something along the lines of, before the apocalypse, I was nobody. But in the apocalypse, I'm anybody. But it was so stupid, I was like, why would I watch this? That line gave me the vibe of like a YA book that starts like the pitch, you know, inside the book sleeve or on the back of the book with, she's not like other girls. Like it gave me that same fucking vibe and I was just already annoyed. The show aired in October. I didn't watch it. And in December it was canceled and not going to be given a second season. I needed a breather from real life, so I binged all 10 episodes. Our main character is Josh. He's a high school student. He was a new kid. And he's surviving the apocalypse because he's Canadian. He has Canadian survival skills. The first episode involves like a bunch of fourth wall breaks, and throughout the series they do kind of fourth wall breaks, but towards the middle end of the series they get really inconsistent. There's whole episodes where they don't do it. But as we meet Josh and we're being told who he is, and he's telling us what happened, you just kind of get the sense immediately this was written by adults.
So what's life like during the apocalypse? In a word? Extra. Be the flow.
You can tell because there's random curse words thrown in, and there's also random slang terms being thrown in that are just not being used correctly. Great, I'm watching this 22-year-old play a teenager written by adults, and it's just cringy. Our main character, Josh, is boring. He's boring. I got bored of him. I was annoyed with him. He's annoying and a prick. He's like a watered down Holden Caulfield, and that's just not where you want to be with your life. Before the apocalypse, Josh was a loner. He didn't fall into a group because he was just himself. He was just Josh. Like that one preview said, he was nobody before, but he was also nobody who was managed to somehow be dating or talking to the most popular girl in school, Sam, who is his love interest of the show. And I have a lot of issues with Sam, but we'll get there in a second. Sam is beautiful. She's known as the nicest girl in school. She's the principal's pet. Already, I know this was written by adults. No one ever likes the principal's pet. I always disagree with the whole like, oh, she's nice to everybody. Everybody loves her. That's never the case. There's always going to be someone that hates you. And there is someone that doesn't like her, but then it's like ignored later, but we'll get there. Josh is the new kid. He's awkward and bad at talking with girls. He doesn't want to make friends or find places to like fit anywhere, but him and Sam like start talking and eventually start like dating, but they've only been talking and dating for like 2 weeks-ish is what we're led to believe. Max first 2 weeks of school. They have the homecoming game, and then that's when the bomb drops that wipes out everything and kicks off the apocalypse. So they haven't been together for very, very long. But they got separated in that, and now it's 6 months into the apocalypse, and Josh is still looking for Sam. He has not had any contact with her. He hasn't found anyone who's had contact with her. So there's no reason to believe that she is alive or anything like that. That's his whole goal. He is looking for Sam. Like usual, I'm gonna hip hop around. Another Netflix series that I just bagged on the entire time was the show Another Life. And I want to make it clear, Another Life is terrible. Another Life is a space show that had like one real adult and then a bunch of 20-somethings who couldn't take anything seriously, but we were led to believe held the fate of the world in their hands. It was just not a good show. But Another Life got a second season, and I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. They were all on a ship, the Pilgrim, most of the time, so it's a smaller set, smaller cast. Daybreak takes place in Glendale. There's a bunch of different locations. There's all of the ghoulies that they have, so that's a lot of cost. You have all of the characters. There's a bunch of high school students. That's a lot more cost. Daybreak is a more expensive production, which is why I think that it did not get a second season, but Another Life is getting a second season. Daybreak is not a horrible show. It's watchable, and it did have better storytelling overall than Another Life. Another Life had this thing where they would bring up like really important moments or things that seemed important, and then it would be completely forgotten a scene later and then never touched on again. Like it was like they never knew what the hell they were doing storytelling wise. Daybreak is much easier to watch and much easier to follow. They did a bunch of stupid things, but it's much easier to watch. And overall, I would say that Daybreak is a more watchable show / better show than Another Life if we are to compare the two. So we're introduced to a bunch of different people in the first episode, but aside from Josh are Wesley and Angelica. Angelica is an 11-year-old who talks like she's 25 because, again, she's written by adults, but we are then told later that she's actually a genius and she had all these training and tutoring, and she actually was like a drug kingpin at one point. That's where they get away with that, is that she's a genius. That's why she talks like she's 25. I actually like the character of Angelica. She was way more entertaining than Josh, but overall my favorite character is Wesley. Wesley was my favorite character, and he should have been the main character, and I stand by this. Wesley was one of the bullies of the high school, and now in the apocalypse he is a pacifist samurai. So he has swords and he can do all this cool shit, but he refuses to hurt people. And early on we are led to believe that he is a pacifist because of all the bullying and how he treated people in high school. He's like, I want to be better, and as penance for that, I am not going to cause any harm. And then we meet Eli Kardashian. Kardashian is spelt differently, so he's like the knockoff Kardashian. That's like his thing. And so he is like, I know your secret. He's like, everyone knows I'm gay. That's not like, no one gives a shit. Like, it's not a secret. And he's like, no, I know what you did in the apocalypse. And then later we find out, because Turbo is the evil jock. He was someone that Wesley was friends with in high school. There's another jock whose name I keep forgetting, but he's really not that important in the grand scheme of things. Turbo is now the head of the jocks, the jock tribe, and he is an evil dictator. He doesn't talk because he's like severely injured. We assume it's from the bomb or something like that, but he can't talk without blood coming out of his mouth, which is like, maybe you should have that looked at. So Wesley's abandoned the jocks, and he abandoned Turbo and the rest of the jock tribe. And then there's a moment where Turbo and Wesley are like face to face, and we're like, oh my god, they're gonna fight. Instead they start making out, and it's like, oh shit. What we find out is that why Wesley is actually sinking penance is that he and Turbo were dating pre-apocalypse, and then in the apocalypse Turbo was the only one who had a plan, and so he just stayed with Turbo and followed Turbo. But Turbo was incredibly jealous of anyone who was nice to Wesley, and so anytime someone was complimenting Wesley or anything, Turbo would just have the dude killed. Wesley was like, I can't be with someone like that. How could I have been with someone who would do that to people? And so he's gone on the path of being a pacifist samurai to make penance for this person that he was with, because how could he have been with someone who did that? Not your fault what your psycho ex did. But anyway, they're now like star-crossed lovers, because Josh doesn't know that Wesley is going and like fooling around with Turbo, their enemy, because Turbo wants to kill Josh because Josh beat him. Turbo is like, you kill Josh or I kill all the other kids that are staying with you guys at the mall. And so Wesley now has to decide, oh my god, am I going to kill Josh or am I going to let all these people die? Because I love Turbo, but like, do I want to do that? I don't give a shit about Sam and Josh. Give me fucking like Wesley and his star-crossed lover Turbo. I don't care that Turbo's evil. It's way more entertaining of a story. It's way more entertaining. Josh is boring. Wesley should have been the main character, and I stand by that. Anyway, we're gonna talk about the bomb itself. So what we're told in the first episode by Josh is that the bomb was a biological weapon, and that it either killed everyone over the age of 18 and like turned them into puddles of goo, or that they turned into ghoulies and now they're zombies who only say the last thing they were thinking or the last thing they said. The ghoulies are just really not a threat in this. If you're gonna have a zombie apocalypse show, like at least make your zombies like a legitimate threat. to be concerned of. Usually a school district has more than one school, and then also when the bomb did go off, it went off during the homecoming game. We just see Glendale, but this was a global thing. So where are all the students from Compton that were there for that homecoming game when the bomb went off? There's no elementary schoolers, there's no middle schoolers. And like, sure, you could argue like, oh, they were just taken out early because like they're kids. But then we later find out there were high school students from Glendale High that didn't survive the blast, and they did melt into goo like everyone else. Principal Burr figures out like, oh, it's because they didn't receive the HPV vaccine. So the whole reason that all of these teenagers survived is because they got vaccinated for HPV. You can only receive the vaccine as a teenager because it doesn't work on adults. You have to receive it as a teenager. So that's why the adults didn't survive. They all got the vaccine because they had like a vaccine day or something. And the students who died were the ones who were given notes from their parents because their parents refused to have them vaccinated. Okay, I understand. Why is Angelica alive? Angelica's 11, never attended the school, so she wouldn't have gotten the vaccine. You had to get the vaccine to survive. Why is she alive? That isn't the case, and it's like, oh, well, she's just a kid, so it is people over 18. Okay, where are all the other middle schoolers? Where are all the other kids? Something that bugs me about this as well, even in the first episode, there's no hesitation with killing. Obviously, Wesley's a pacifist, so he's not going to kill anyone, but everyone else is like just down to do that. It like slips into like a Lord of the Flies type of narrative, but that goes against the overall conclusion of the series, because for those of you who don't know Lord of the Flies, it's about a boys' school that when traveling during World War III, their plane crashes on an island and all the adults are dead, and they kind of revert away from the social norms because they're away from society, and so they do become more barbaric. 2 kids end up dying. They're kind of trying to put that on this as well. It's like, well, now that there's no social norms and like we're in the apocalypse, like we can just kill kids. Like we're cool with killing our former classmates. No hesitation. Really, you're not going to give them anything. There's also no mourning for their families. Like there's no mourning for their parents. Some of them mourn like their friends, but even then it's like just rest in peace. Anyway, which for me, like in zombie shows, I always think that's a good way to like drum up sympathy for your characters, is to have one of your characters have to face that reality of having to kill their loved one that is now an undead zombie thing. Because that's always heartbreaking. Like, oh my God, this is someone I knew, but they're not them anymore, you know? And now I have to kill this person. None of them really talk about their parents, aside from Angelica. She talks about her mom and how her mom could very still be, you know, an adult and still have her own thoughts and feelings, because before the bomb went off, she was on a submarine at the bottom of the ocean, and there's a very real chance she hasn't experienced the radiation from the bomb, and she may still be normal, but she has no way of getting in contact with her mom. And then they kind of abandoned that plot line too. I just expected more from that. Later on, there's a moment where we find out that Josh's dad died. Obviously, he was torn about it pre-apocalypse. And then now, 6 months into the apocalypse, he still won't talk about it, and he's still very worked up about it. But there's no sympathy for his mom at all, who also was an adult and who also is probably dead now. Like, it's very weird what they choose to focus on. This was another issue with Another Life where things would be brought up and then abandoned that seemed important. This happened with Miss Crumble. Miss Crumble was one of the teachers of the high school, and now she is part ghoulie but also still part human. And we later find out that the reason her and Principal Burr survived everything was because they were inside the school during the homecoming game. They weren't outside. And the school is very old and very not up to code, so there's lead paint and shit like that, like protect themselves from the radiation. So she is still part ghoulie because she was still exposed to it. And he's less of a ghoulie because he was actually in a bunker for months after the radiation. It's been 6 months in the apocalypse, but he's been known as Baron Triumph, like this cannibalistic kid eater, like for a long time. So it's like, couldn't have been down there for too long. But she has a traumatic brain injury because prior to the apocalypse happening, Burr shoved her down the stairs because she was going to expose him for taking bribes from parents to change students' grades. I don't know if you got it from the cannibalizing of students, but he's an asshole and a piece of shit. But she's also part ghoulie, so she is like avoiding eating children, but nothing that she's doing is like making sense. She like has issues with like putting thoughts together. Her and Angelica's friendship starts as Angelica being like, if I know how to fix Miss Crumble, I can figure out how to fix my mom, like when she comes back. But there's a moment later where Crumble attacks Angelica because Angelica got her period for the first time, and like, I'm sorry, they handled that poorly.
Crumble came here to keep me safe.
Crumble came here to get you alone.
like an emotional moment because she's like, my mom should be here to help me with this, but then instead it's like her connecting with Burr because Burr's locked in the cellar and he's like yelling down at her of like how to like handle it. It was just done really weird, and it's like this dude eats children and now it's like, oh, he's back in principal mode, and it was just fucking made me uncomfortable.
This coming of age story sucks.
Crumble's like apologizing, she's like, I'm so sorry, but she collapses and we see on her back that her skin is like rotting. Angelica's like, no, we'll fix this. But then it's not brought up again, really. Obviously the ghoulie part of her is getting worse because her body is literally deteriorating. And then later when they finally kill Burr, because they could have killed him originally, but no, we just incapacitated him and then we locked him in a cage. And it's like, okay, I don't know why you didn't just kill him because you guys are so down with killing. I don't know why you didn't kill him. And they didn't know until later that he couldn't be killed. So it's like, what are you doing? Why'd you waste that opportunity? I know you don't have a plot if you just kill him off, but like, it's not like with Crumble where they're trying to figure out like why she is still able to talk and have conversations. They just lock him in a cage and show up to feed him every once in a while. Josh stabs him to save Sam because he was gonna like kill Sam. We know you can't be killed, you can get up. And so he's like, oh, why'd you bother stabbing me? That just, like, he's just sassing them. They're like, oh, it's not the sword that was gonna kill you. It's what's on the sword.
Peanut butter? Extra crunchy.
Because the entire season, they've been making callbacks to the first episode where he's talking to Josh about peanut allergies and how there's no peanuts allowed on campus. It's a nut-free campus. And then it's like, oh, it wasn't because of students. It was because of Burr. Burr's allergic, and so he didn't care about students ever. It was only about himself, and fuck students. And so he ends up dying, but as he's dying from the fucking peanut butter, a whole fucking zombie monster hand pops out of his stomach.
What the fuck is that?
You're so busy fighting each other. You haven't seen the real threat coming.
Slices off the finger of the monster, and then they die immediately. Because peanuts. I'm sorry, it's stupid, it's so stupid. I'm just gonna complain about Sam now. We as a society have surpassed the need for characters that are perfect, but then they're not happy with being perfect, and then surprise, they're not perfect. People are just projecting onto them. We've surpassed that. We're done with it. No more. I like tropes, but this trope is almost always poorly done, and this was just not well written, and it was just really weird how they ended up doing her conclusion. Like, if her conclusion had been done better, I wouldn't be annoyed by it, but it was done poorly. So we're introduced to Sam Dean early. She's the most popular girl in school. She's a principal's pet. Burr has her meet with students to find out where they belong because she genuinely has an interest in people and she's very empathetic, and that's why she's known as like the nicest girl in school, because she actually like takes interest in people and likes to learn about them. And Josh falls for her. They go on like a date slash a not date. It's just a hangout, but he thinks it's a date. Goes up to him and she was like, you and I are gonna save the world. They make a vlog of her going up to her classmates and complimenting them, and then they post it, and supposedly this video goes viral. She gets 1 million followers from it, and she becomes an influencer. Remember how I can say you can tell this was written by adults because nothing really makes sense? They're just saying shit and not knowing what it means. Yeah, this is that. She refers to herself as like an influencer on multiple occasions. Again, we're led to believe that this is like early on in the school year, like maybe a max of 2 weeks this has gone on. So her video went up, she went viral, and now she's just an influencer all of a sudden. There's no talk of anything else she's done. She's just an influencer. They're having their ditch day, and he's like, I love you.
Yeah. Don't say that.
It is new. It's like they do barely know each other. He probably doesn't actually love her. He just thinks he loves her. This is basically paper towns. He's just projected onto her this whole time, and then she's not actually who he wants to be. But she then goes on like this like whole speech about how like, I don't want to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm just a teenager. I don't want to be an influencer. I get all these terrible comments. Someone like left a comment about her accent because she's British. Honey, I have big teeth and very little lips. I am the human embodiment of this emoji. Okay? You're gonna get mean comments. Like, don't be a dickhead, but also like the way that that's presented in this monologue is just done so poorly. Like, she's like, I'm just a kid. I don't know who I am. Like, cause I'm still figuring out who I am. And he's like, no, you're Sam Dean. And then they have sex, but we'll talk about that in a second, cause that's a whole other thing. It was just a random forced like empowerment moment that's like almost immediately destroyed a second later because Josh is basically an incel, but we'll get there. Before I move on to the conclusion of the series and Sam's conclusion and why I thought it was stupid, we have to talk about their breakup because there's a whole fucking episode dedicated to a flashback of them breaking up the day of the bomb going off, the day of the homecoming game. We never saw Josh's mom. Josh's mom is a post-it parent, is how he describes her. She leaves for work before he gets up in the morning, and she doesn't come back until after dinner. She communicates with them mostly through post-its all over the apartment. She could just text him, but then they don't get to use colorful post-it notes on set, so that's out the window. So this is the day of the homecoming game, and Sam's like, I want to ditch today, like, let's ditch. So they go back to Josh's apartment, and Josh's mom had left him a note that said, call your dad. Sam never sees this note. He takes the note and he crumples it. He's not going to call his dad. They then spend the rest of the afternoon watching TV, making out. At one point, they ordered food. His mom calls multiple times. He keeps telling Sam, like, just ignore the call. I'm not going to call. And then his mom does text and says, again, call your dad. He's like, no, I don't want to call my dad. Ignore the message, whatever. The entire time, he's telling Sam, like, just ignore it. Like, I'm not going to call my dad. They order Postmates. There's, like, a weird debacle. And then she's like, what are we going to do for 45 minutes? And he's like, oh, are we going to have sex? Are we going to have the sex? And she's like, yes, we're going to have the sex. And as you're watching it, as the viewer, or at least in my case, it was very apparent that she had had sex before and he had not. She was much more cavalier about it. At one point, he's like, are you sure? Like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, he's clearly like, I want to make this special for you. Like, are you ready? Like, he clearly is not picking up on the fact that she has had sex before. And she's like, okay, here. And she pulls out her phone and has a consent app on her phone. We can both say, like, what we're comfortable with doing. And as he's going through the list, like, he's just naming off sexual positions, and he clearly has no idea what anything is, but she's like, oh, you wouldn't be able to do that. Oh, that's like this. She clearly knows all of these sexual positions, and he clearly doesn't. And it's like, dude, did you really not? Like, she has a consent app downloaded on her phone. They have sex. He slips and, like, smacks her face into his shoulder and, like, busts her nose. They're having a conversation, and she's like, no one's first time is ever good. And so he realizes, oh, she's had sex before. And then it's like this whole thing where he does start, like, slut-shaming her, and she's like, you're gonna make me try and feel bad because I've had sex with other people. Then there's, like, this whole random sequence thrown in there, which I always think this is weird. Like, the CW does this too sometimes. They did this with Riverdale. The actress playing Sam is 22, but this character we're led to believe is at least under the age of 18, in her bra and underwear, but she goes into Josh's mom's room and gets, like, a blazer of hers, and she makes, like, a crown out of tinfoil, does her hair all crazy, and puts on darker makeup and red lipstick, and does, like, a weird sexual dance thing, and then she's, like, making out with Josh. Postmates driver comes in and she ordered, like, enough food for, like, 40 people. I don't know why that was a choice made. Flirting with the Postmates driver, still half naked basically. And then the moment the Postmates driver is like, do you guys need me to stay and, like, help you with the food? Do you guys need that? She's like, and, like, covers herself up, and then he's like, oh fuck, okay, leaves. It's just weird, and it's drawn out way too long, and it's like, oh, she's empowered, she might fuck the Postmates driver. Like, what the fuck is this? What am I watching? So they eat, and then they go swimming, and then he tells her he loves her, and again, it's like this whole thing. The mom is still calling in this time. He's still ignoring it. Again, they're in the pool. She goes on this tangent about, I'm not perfect. You don't love me. You don't know me. Like, does that whole thing. And then he's like, I know who you are. You're Sam Dean. And then they go and have sex. Mom calls and he's like, fine, I gotta take this. I'll just take this. It'll be 1 second. Takes the call and then immediately looks at Sam and gets, like, agitated as he's on the call and starts getting dressed and runs outside to sit outside. And Sam, like, gets dressed and goes outside and he's like, my dad died. And then he immediately flips it on her. And this is why he's a fucking incel, because he blames Sam for him not listening to his mom repeatedly and not calling his dad. I spent the afternoon trying to get in your pants. That's like that's her fault that he wanted to have sex with her. You have everything you could ever want. You're perfect. Everyone loves you. And you still are complaining. And, like, so everything that he had been like, you are allowed to do this. It's like, I love you, you know, all this shit. Like, fuck that because he's mad about his dad and that's all on her. That's her fault. That is psychotic. I don't like Josh at all. It's understandable that he's upset that his dad is dead. But also, he made the choice to not take his mom's call. He made the choice to not call his dad. His mom made the fucking dumbass choice to just say, call your dad, not, hey, your dad is not doing well. You need to call him. Your dad is very sick. Instead of just call your dad, hey, your dad is fucking dying. You need to call him. You need to talk to him because it's gonna be too late. Who wrote this? Anyway, so Sam leaves because he says, get out, get away from me. They're broken up at this point. Josh realizes, like, you know what? I fucked up. I need to go and talk to Sam. I need to get back together with her. So he gets her a sunflower because that's her favorite flower. And then as he's walking in, loses his nerve, he waits, and then that's when the bomb goes off, and that's why they were separated in the apocalypse, because he waited too long to go and apologize to her, but he broke up with her. So the entire time that he's been looking for Sam, they've been broken up. Also, it's the fucking apocalypse. Oh, also, he called her a slut when he was, like, yelling at her and shit. The entire time he's been looking for Sam, they've been broken up. He's not entirely sure if he's alive. At one point, Angelica and Wesley are worried that he's going to leave to go look for Sam because he is injured, and they're like, he can't keep doing this. He's going to get himself killed out there. So they basically fake Sam's death, and they find a blonde body, and they have, like, a copy of the pin that she always wore, and they put that on her. Josh believes that she is dead. And so then he wants to avenge her death and then almost gets killed again. But in that time of him thinking she's dead, he hooks up with KJ. KJ is one of the students that they rescue from Baron Triumph. And she's just a badass, and I wish we could have seen her fight, because she's just walking around in this cool, like, white-on-white ensemble, but she's got side tucked away, and, like, we never got to see her fight with those, and that would have been cool as shit. Why didn't we get to see KJ fight? Fight scenes were boring, but, like, we're so far past that. Josh and KJ slept together in, like, the heat of the moment because they lost the gamers to Turbo, and it's unclear if the gamers were killed after this, but we don't see them again, so I'm assuming maybe they were. Then the moment Josh finds out that Sam is alive, and he finds out when KJ's literally, like, asleep on him after they've had sex. Like, it's so awkward. He immediately is back on the we must find Sam train. He ends up kicking out Wesley and Angelica over that, and then also Wesley and Eli because they tried to kill Josh because of the Turbo thing that I talked about earlier on in this video. He's now on the mission of, I have to go to the high school, I have to rescue Sam from Turbo and the jocks, because obviously she's a prisoner there. The thing is, though, is that the entire time that Sam was there, because we're led to believe that she's been there the whole time because she was in the school at the time, and then now she's still at the school. She's basically, like, cooking for them and trying to grow vegetables in the garden and shit. We're led to believe that she's been there for months, so basically since the start of the apocalypse. So she's a prisoner but not a prisoner. But she's been with the jocks for at least the last month of the apocalypse. Turbo has been trying to kill Josh because Josh beat him at Josh's apartment, at the school, at the factory, you know, like, Josh kept beating him. There's no way she didn't know that Josh was out there and that Josh was alive. So then when she does see Josh, she's like, oh my god, you're alive. Like, I thought you were dead. It's like, no, she didn't. She's been there the whole time. There's no way that Sam didn't know that Josh was alive and that Josh was out there, because Turbo has been going out of his way, obsessing over killing Josh. There's no way that Sam didn't know that Josh was out there. And then again, they were broken up, she didn't care, whatever. So Sam and Josh meet up again, and then there's an explosion, they all lose their hearing. He takes her back to the mall to meet up with the others to make a plan, because Baron Triumph / Principal Burr is planning to set off another nuke to, again, wipe out all of the teenagers, because the teenagers that you guys have become even worse in the apocalypse. We need to start new. And so he's taking some of the jocks with him to, like, Lake Arrowhead or some shit like that, where they can be his cattle ranch, because he still wants to eat children, because he's still a cannibalistic psycho. And then everyone else is gonna die. Like, I'm just gonna reset everything. It's never explained where this nuke came from, how they got it, how they know it's the same type of nuke that caused the issue. Also, how do they know that they are going to survive if they go to Lake Arrowhead? Because we're led to believe that this is a global issue, or at least a continent issue, okay? So there's nowhere in the state of California that they would survive, you know, if they're going to just set off another nuke. Though they can't hear anything because they were too close to another missile going off. They lost their hearing for a little bit. Sam figures out that KJ and Josh slept together, and she loses her shit. Again, they have the sticky notes where she's writing out, like her insulting him, calling him a slut, calling him a hypocrite, because he slut-shamed her, but he slept with someone else. I don't condone cheating. Ross Geller is an idiot. But they were broken up, like, actually broken up, and they were also months into the apocalypse, and he thought she was dead. You get at least one pass in the apocalypse. He thought she was dead. They were broken up. Like, there's no reason for her to be jealous or angry that he slept with KJ. It just doesn't make sense. And he, like, apologizes. They have, like, a whole moment. He made her, like, a sign with, like, a sunflower on it, so it's like a shield. And it's like, oh, okay, they're good now. They're back together now, is what we're led to believe, because now they're going to go rally the other teenagers, get the students all together, and they decide, okay, we're going to go and we're going to stop Bear and Triumph. We're going to rescue Angelica. We're going to rescue Miss Crumble. We're going to rescue the others. They do that. They kill Bear and Triumph. They kill Principal Burr, you know, with the fucking peanut butter. Prior to this, before Principal Burr, like, took over the jock squad in the high school again and all of that, and then started again trying to, like, kill off the kids again, they actually got him out of the cell that they had him in because they needed to take down Turbo because Turbo was losing his shit. He was getting paranoid. So they got Principal Burr. He dresses up as Baron Triumph. And again, this is how they find out they can't be killed. Turbo takes, like, his axe and plunges it into Baron Triumph, and it doesn't kill him. So he just takes his head and smacks it down onto the fucking head of the axe, and it cracks his, like, he gets a big old cut. I'd assume he's dead, but whatever. And they throw him into the body pile, and Wesley, who we haven't seen in, like, an episode or two, comes and saves him, and it takes him back to where Josh's apartment was, where all the medical supplies was, and is, like, taking care of him. Once Turbo is better and able to, like, hold himself up, Wesley's like, I love you, but you're a terrible person. Like, I will never be forgiven for what's happened. Like, I tried to kill my friend because of you. You and I are gonna duel, and either I'll be dead or I'll be redeemed. And Turbo agrees to this, and Wesley's like, do you want to do swords? He's like, no. And it's like, we're gonna do weapons? He's like, no. And he pulls out a box of dueling pistols. There's a whole dramatic setup. Turbo very clearly is like, puts his arms down. It's very clear, like, he's not gonna shoot Wesley. Like, he loves Wesley, he's not gonna shoot him. And so Wesley does it, pulls the trigger, and instead of a bullet, there's confetti. And then Turbo pulls up the thing and does confetti because Turbo knew that these were prop guns from the musical Hamilton. Okay, we're good now. You're redeemed. You were willing to kill me. We're together now. Turbo, your boyfriend was gonna kill you. He was, like, down to do it. He was like, he didn't blink. He just did it. But anyway, they all go back. They defeat Baron Triumph. They realize they can't disarm the nuke. It's gonna go off regardless. They somehow figure out that there's something in there that recodes DNA. And that's what makes Ghoulies. It's going to go off again. They're all gonna die. Then Angelica realizes, well, this is on a rocket.
We're on a rocket. We're on a phallic symbol filled with fuel designed by men who wanted to fuck the world. I got it.
It'll just detonate out in fucking space, and then we should be fine. We can only arm it from right here. And so Miss Crumble is like, I'll do it. I'll turn into a mist. It's a whole thing. Anyway, Angelica's upset because this is her friend. This is, like, the new mother figure that she's kind of had now. It's going to incinerate her from being that close to that much fire, obviously, because it's a fucking rocket. I know I'm using missile, nuke, and rocket interchangeably, but I don't know what to tell you. I'm an English major. Pull Angelica away, she's crying, it's this big dramatic moment, Crumble hits it, and also there's, like, a lot of lag time. Like, she easily could have hit it and then jumped and ran as fast as she possibly could. Would she probably have still been burned? Yes, but, like, to sit there and be like, Angelica's crying, they're crying, like, it's like, it's okay, I know, like, holding her, making sure she's okay. Everyone's like, yes, we're all gonna live now because the rocket's gone. And then all of a sudden Crumble's right there, like, what are you guys looking at? It's like, I told you, I can turn into a mist. But we never see her turn into a mist. There's no evidence she can turn into a mist. I'm assuming she just booked it. And then Wesley's like, go get her, man. Go get your girl. And so he goes up to Sam.
Let's go to the mall. Yeah, I got a spot for us in the furniture store. It looks like a craftsman home in Montrose. You know, our little happily ever after.
No.
Again, this is basically Paper Town. So he's like, but I love you. And she's like, you've been chasing an idealized version of me this whole time. And like 6 months in the apocalypse changes a person.
When you posted that video, you showed me who I could be. This is my life now. These are my people, and they need a leader.
The apocalypse wasn't the best thing to happen to you, Josh.
It was the best thing to happen to me.
And that's the twist. And that's the end of the season. I hate it. It's stupid. It's so dumb. I wouldn't care that Sam took over if it wasn't set up as like this, she's evil now because she doesn't want to be with Josh. This incel psycho who has been focused on her this entire time, who he broke up with because his dad had passed away and he blamed her for him not being able to talk to his dad in his final moments. That's Sam's fault somehow. He also never apologizes to her for that at all in the ending. She already told him that she didn't love him that way. 6 months separated in the apocalypse doesn't suddenly change that, because they barely knew each other prior to that. Again, they did break up. We're supposed to believe that she didn't know that Josh was out there, but there's no way she didn't know. We're supposed to be surprised that she doesn't want to be with Josh, but there's nothing to say that she would want to be with Josh in this time. Her whole character is that she empathizes with people, she's nice to people, people know her. She could have been like, who do you want to lead you? Who do you want to guide you in this? And all of them probably would have fucking said her, because they all know her, they all like her, because that's what we're led to believe. She could have been democratically elected. She just usurped this role, and now they're all like bowing down to her because out of like fear and not respect in this. Like it was stupid. Something else bothered me in this. It was the treatment of Mona Lisa in this scene. Mona Lisa was Turbo, the head of the jocks, right-hand man. She was the second in command. Her whole line is like, you chose me because I don't put up with bullshit and I'm not weak. She's clearly a bad bitch. She's clearly second in command the entire season. But then also she's the one who realizes Turbo's losing it. Okay? She's the one who realizes like, wow, Turbo is like losing his mind. He's getting paranoid. We need to do something. So she's the one who goes to Sam and goes to Barry, one of the remaining members of the golf team, and they go and get Principal Burr and they bring him back and they basically take down Turbo. And when Turbo is down on the ground with a fucking head wound, everyone take out the trash. Like, she takes charge in the moment. Like, she takes control, so it's like, okay, yes, like, Mona Lisa's gonna take control now. She's in charge now. But then Principal Burr, like, walks up and it's like, what's the rule? No yelling in the hallway. And, like, immediately, like, she gets subservient to him because, again, it's a principal role. And, like, the moment that the teacher is reintroduced, the principal is reintroduced, they all kind of slip back into, like, that high school mentality. She rose up, took control, and then was immediately pushed down. You know how great it would have been if she was like, no, like I'm in charge now. I've been doing this. I'm in charge of the jocks. They know me. They trust me. I should be in charge. And that's what I thought was going to happen. That would have been a way better twist than just having Sam do it. We're supposed to be surprised that Sam now wants to be a dictator because she doesn't want to be with Josh. The whole video thing that made Sam an influencer, there's only one person on that video who isn't like, oh my gosh, Sam, thank you. Like, I love Sam. Like, and that's Mona Lisa.
You have the best tits. Like, fearless cleavage. You're a femme future leader.
If you're making fun of me, Sam Dean, I swear I'll gas pedal your box.
So Mona Lisa is the only person who gave Sam any shit. But then the moment that Sam is like, no, I'm in charge now, she looks to Mona Lisa, and Mona Lisa immediately goes back into position of where she would be if Turbo was sitting there. So she immediately goes back into a second in command position to Sam Dean, someone who she didn't even really like prior to the apocalypse. She had this moment where she rose up, and now you're just gonna push her back into the second in command subservient role? Like, what was that? I just thought that was a butchering of character growth. But anyway, Mona Lisa for Apocalyptic President 2020. I could keep going about this show, but it's like, I don't know. It was just so cringy and just so awkward. Just a shitty twist, and it was just poorly done. You know, like, she could have just been like, okay, I'm in charge now. And it's like her like being elected as class president type of shit. They already nominated her as homecoming queen. They could have done the same shit as this because they already like her. And now she's saved them. It just doesn't fit her characterization at all at this point, which is why they're like, it's a twist. But they set it up as like, no, she's evil now because she doesn't want to be with Josh. I still think that Wesley should have been the main character. Wesley was a better character. Him and Turbo had a better star-crossed lovers dynamic, okay? Way more entertaining of a storyline than Sam and Josh. Like I said, the show is not getting a second season, but it's watchable if you do want to watch it. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not like giving it a swell seal of approval or anything, but it's there. Unfortunately, we're getting a second season of Another Life, so I don't know how that's gonna go. Probably as horribly as the first one, but we'll see. Have you watched Daybreak? Did you see the advertisement from Netflix I was talking about? If you find a copy of that trailer or that preview anywhere with that line in it, please let me know. I'll like tweet it out or something. I think there needs to be a rule that if you're gonna use like Gen Z slang, you need to have someone who's actually in Gen Z like on call. So we're saying that a video where someone goes around and says compliments to people, we're going to say that that's a thirst trap. Is that what that is? No, that's not what a thirst trap is. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd also like to support me on Patreon, link will be listed down below. If you'd like to follow me on all my social media, that'll be all up here. Like I said, I will be putting a bunch of links to petitions and donation spots down below. Please, if you are out protesting, please be safe. There is still a pandemic going on. Please make sure you are taking all the proper precautions. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. There's a reason I know that no one like actually from Gen Z was consulted. On multiple occasions, they allude to the students being ambivalent about world events and them not having paid attention to like politics or anything pre the bomb going off. Like they weren't involved in everything, they weren't aware of anything. When Sam and Josh go to the apartment to like fool around for the afternoon or whatever, there's a news story playing about how the peace talks have devolved into chaos and how there's like everything's gone. So like there's an actual legitimate risk of World War III happening. And they just changed the channel. We're so ambivalent to world events because we're teenagers, and that's just so not the case with like Gen Z at all. You can see that with the current movements happening right now. But also like anything from the last 3 or 4 years, teenagers and young adults have been very involved in everything. So for this to like paint like, oh, I wasn't paying attention, I don't know what happened, it just really shows that the showrunners had no idea about the group they were portraying. Thank you Aaron, Adam, Alan, Elise, Bradley, Brighton, Byung, Cameron D, Christopher, Chris, Cody, Colton, Crash PC, Dawn, Elliot, Aaron, Essen, Evan, Feckless, Hopeless, Jason, Jasper, John M, Jonathan, Jordan, Kenneth, Kevin, Kim, Lisa, Louise, Manga, Matt, Matthew S, Matthew, Meme Lord the Red, Michael J, Michael, Nathaniel, Prylock, Rob, Sam, Stefan, Timothy, Torben, Tom, Victor, Wendy, William, Zendry.